Show me the evidence for God and for who he is and for what he's done. Show me the evidence for Jesus and I'll believe. Good morning, St. Peter's. That's often the case with many people who want to turn their back on God, is they want evidence to believe, evidence to stack up, and then to come to a conclusion. But Jesus today talks about people's hearts and how essentially it actually starts not with evidence but with the heart. See, in our reading today, people have made up their choice and their decision about Jesus from their heart. And this is how everyone works. Listen to what Jesus says. What should I compare? This is Matthew 11. We're going to look at Matthew 11. We're looking at adultish behaviour. Matthew 11, 16 through to 29. We're not going to read all of it, but we'll just skim some of it. But listen to 16. What should I compare this generation? He's talking about the people that Jesus is speaking to. It's like children sitting in the marketplace. They call out to other children, we played the flute for you, but you didn't dance. And we sang a lament, but you didn't mourn. And then he goes on to say, John the Baptist, neither eating nor drinking. And they say, look, he has a demon. And the Son of Man comes eating and drinking. And they say, look, a glutton and a drunkard, and a friend of tax collectors and sinners. The point Jesus is making with these two little stories here about children dancing in the marketplace, singing a lovely, joyful song, and then singing a dirge, a funeral song. And then John the Baptist coming and not eating and not drinking and abstaining from that. And Jesus coming and Jesus eating and drinking and that. Jesus is making the point here, it doesn't really matter what you do or what I do. People will make their own decisions based on their heart about who I am. And they've already made up their mind. And they'll use rationalizations to confirm that. And so this is why he says the story about the children. You'll just say, if I dance a nice, lovely jig, you'll say, well, why are you being so lovely? And why we played the flute for you, but you didn't dance. And he says, if we sing a lament, then you won't mourn. And then the story about, you say John the Baptist, is it doesn't eat and drink. He abstains from all of that kind of thing. He's very... chooses the path of abstinence, and that's holiness. And they say, look, he has a demon. But then I come and I'm having wine with other people, turning water into wine, and I'm eating with many tax collectors and sinners. And they say, look, he is a friend of tax collectors and sinners. That is, people have made up their mind about who Jesus is and who God is. And people's hearts are turned away from God, turned towards God. And this is this adultish, childish behaviour, right? Because people are... if they're working adultish, have calculated, well, God's not really there. He's not really alive. He's not really present. And yet Jesus says in verse 19, wisdom is proved right by her deeds. We have all the evidence we need. Jesus walked the earth. He lived the life we could never live. He dies the death we deserve. And did you notice how it finishes off? Listen to this. Verse 25, chapter 11. Jesus said, I praise you, Father, because you have hidden these things from the wise and the intelligent and revealed them to infants. It was your good pleasure. Basically, Jesus is saying this was always going to be on the cards. This was only revealed to people, the reality of God, who he is, what he's done, who Jesus is, was revealed to infants. That is, not literally infants, people who choose to trust God to what he's revealed, who he is, and his goodness. And Jesus says, these are my children, these are children of the Father. It's not revealed to the wise and the intelligent and the people who reason from dot zero and reason their way up to God. He says it's been revealed to those who trust God. It was his good pleasure. And listen to what he says here. All things have been entrusted to me by the Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son. Anyone to whom the Son desires to reveal him. So Jesus says, you can know the good Father, but you can only know him through Jesus and through him. And he finishes with this lovely verse. Come to me all you who are weary, and I will give you rest. And those who are burdened, take up my yoke and learn from me. I am lowly and humble in heart, and you'll find rest in your souls. It is hard to keep going and to keep throwing ourselves into the world, and when things don't turn out the way we want them to, or when we trust in sex, money and power and the gods of the world. But Jesus says, rest in me, trust in me. Give me all your burdens, and I'll give you rest. That's what it is to be a child. And Jesus shows us some adultish behaviour as well. But that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll continue again with seeing more childlike behaviour in God and adultish behaviour through Matthew.